Before the pandemic, we had 6 million in the US, we had 6 million unfilled jobs. Much of those were trade jobs, blue collar jobs, farming jobs, et cetera. Okay. And, you could see we had emphasized white collar skills a little too much. The student debt was increasing. People had spent kids had spent a lot of money getting accounting degrees, legal degrees, whatever. And the market was telling them, you really should have become a plumber or a carpenter or what are the blue collar jobs, right? And yet, young people still don't want to hear that message, right? So we have come out of the pandemic, huge labor shortages. Unfortunately, with the stimulus checks and so on, the market is sending signals, very, very loud signals, and the young people still aren't listening to them. So I think it'll take a rude awakening to parents, which is don't encourage your kids to rack up student debt and go get white-collar jobs. We're going to have to, as a society, slap the white-collar institutions a little bit and say, we've given you a little too much emphasis, right? So a lot of societal changes need to happen because we're not listening to what the market is telling us. And, we can talk about AI and so on, but that's all white collar oriented still. I'm very worried about our trade, blue collar, jobs, the need for people to be there and do what typically guarantee middle class livings. I mean, I don't know of a hungry plumber. I don't know of a hungry carpenter or a hungry electrician, right? So I don't know when as a society we started looking down at some of those professions. And those are becoming much more automated, right? Those jobs are evolving with technology and so on. So I'd rather have our institutions say, how do we make our manufacturing jobs much more automated, right? That there's value added in that, rather than continue to say, I'll teach you accounting and let me show you how to apply the machine learning to that.
At the leading edge of education, which is where parents and their children are making choices about what to go into and how to make that, sort of educational experience at the most fruitful it can be, whether it's doing blue collar work, going to vocational education, doing something that looks more like a training program than a university degree program. And then I think the other side of that's the big gap and difficulty is what to do with people who are aging and who are going to stay in the workplace for a really long time now, and that they want to continue to have purposeful work to do. And I think that we often decide that, it's all the same problem. But there's such different problems, right? The leading edge of education and the continuing edge of education are really different problems to solve. And they have people who have different kinds of needs. And so I want to emphasize that this is not one solution for everybody. This is a spectrum of solutions across the age spectrum and how to help people at different ages get the kind of educational experience they need to build their career, whatever way they want to build it.
I do wonder if the education world can look at the service trend, of having a membership and explore that sort of model for education as well. If you think about just the idea of hiring, you value experience over a 4-year degree typically. The degree is a great marker, but the experience means a lot. Yeah. Also, this issue of older people in the workforce being kind of maybe not having the experience in the newer trending things, the newer technologies. As we see this kind of inception of a forever changing world and forever changing skills and expectations, look at the medical world where you have to do continuing education. What if you had a degree plan with a college? I went to the University of Texas, Hook'em, and you just subscribed and you continually educated. And that was it wasn't a degree, it was that I'm 10 years into my training, in this space that I'm always continuing my education within. So I think there's some innovation still to happen.